welcome to Blue Collar Startup. So, Matt
Beard, welcome. Yes.
Hudson Valley. Now, is it still a community college?
Yes.
So it is. Okay, so Hudson Valley Community College.
Yep.
And you are in charge of, and so that I don't say it wrong, tell us what you are in charge of over there.
So I'm an assistant professor at Hudson Valley Community College for the auto body program. Yeah. So collision repair, aka auto body. It's an AOS degree, so it's an Associates in Occupational Studies.
Okay.
That you get a degree in, and an actual, a degree. So I've been there for approximately 12 years now. So I'm the lead instructor there. We have a couple of other, part-time, and kind of my mentor, still is retired, but still does some, especially some classes, that are there. So I run, mostly the day-to-day and the majority of classes, for the auto body program. So there's auto body, there's auto mechanics, and then there's automotive management as well. So there's 3 separate degrees just in automotive itself.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And now I know a big reason why you're here is because of Josh Jewett, who was a previous guest on the show.
Yep.
And I know that beforehand you told us, you guys went to school together. Now, was it in this program?
Yes.
So you went through this program.
I went through this program, alumni, and full circle, come back, and now I'm an instructor, for it. So never thought I'd be the instructor at the school ever, really.
So kind of give us like the 5-minute version of you're coming through that program, you graduate that program, going to work. Like, tell us about how that whole thing kind of works.
So, I kind of, like anybody, I didn't know what I wanted to do coming out of high school, and I come from a trade background. My father was a heavy equipment mechanic and operator for a construction company. So I had that background with my father, but kind of wanted to do something different. So I knew about Hudson Valley, and instead of going the mechanical end, I went to the auto body end. But at that time, I kind of learned that as I went, because at that time the first year was the same auto body mechanical. So you did the first year, everybody was the same, and then in the second year, if you wanted to stay with auto mechanics, or you could go to auto body. I decided to go to auto body, and went, into that, got into more of the auto body related painting and welding and things like that, and really, really enjoyed it. So after that, I had a job even before I left Hudson Valley. So I was doing Hudson Valley, and I was actually a busser at a restaurant when I kind of first started, and then I got into a small body shop before I left, and was doing that while I went to school, and graduated from the program, and went into the field. So I was working full time after that, and my instructor at the time, he talked about another trade school, so another step. So it was BMW school, I call it. So BMW step program. So he kind of steered me. He said, "Hey, you want to pursue that, or you want to do that after you go through the program? I think you can do it as long as you do X, Y, and Z as you're, going through the program." So he's kind of like my mentor and inspiration to kind of go in and continue in the field. So I graduated, was working, and then applied for a BMW STEP program, which is another auto body program. That's in Montvale, New Jersey, downstate a little bit. So got accepted to that and went through that program. That's a 9-month program, and after that, I graduated that and been in the field ever since. So I spent about, I think it was 5 or 6 years, full time in the field, and then And one day I get a call from my same instructor there that guided me through, Hudson Valley and into this BMW program. He called me up and said, "Hey, you want to adjunct some classes?" I go, "What?"
Right. What does that mean?
Well, yeah. What is that? What do you want me to do? So anyway, so I started doing night refinishing classes. So paint classes. So I would go in after working all day. I'd go there from 5 to 9 and either, work with him or another instructor that was there. And we would, tag team and learned a lot as to be an instructor, because I knew how to do it, but the instructing part took some time to to get.
Yeah.
So I was doing that for about a couple of years. Actually left that job that I was working at for quite a long time, for 5-6 years, and went to work with Josh at Cole's Collision. So I was there for 3 years. They allowed me to continue that adjuncting at night. And then a position opened up. Somebody retired from Hudson Valley, and I applied, and I've been there ever since. Nice. That's the long and short of it, I guess.
You must have made a heck of an impression on your former professor then.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. It was a lot. It was he saw something, I think, in me that to kind of guide me in that direction, and thought I could do it. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the program. And again, I mean, we kind of have the benefit, and if you're listening and listen to Josh's episode, I mean, he really talked really well about the program and about kids coming out of it and the skill set. So tell us, from the inside, so what things what tools are you giving these guys and girls?
So it's funny that auto body, I tell my students, auto body, the program gives you a wide range of avenues that you can travel in. There's so many different little niches that are in the auto body industry that I see students go to is really cool, because you never know what you're going to do, or every day to day it's different. Yeah. So the program and I have a background because I went through it, obviously, so I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was fun. It was enjoyable to go to school. And I'm like, I want to do this, I enjoyed going. I enjoyed the different things that we were doing. I enjoyed the camaraderie of my classmates, and I enjoyed it. So the program is really from anybody that has never even set their hands on a wrench to somebody that's has had it their whole life. It's just kind of guiding them in a different avenue, and getting their skill set in different areas. So we start off with refinishing. So refinishing painting, so refinishing body mechanical. So there's a lot of mechanical related items to auto body too. So when you get in a wreck, what do you hit? You hit the front end, you hit the condenser, you hit the mechanical things, you rip off the suspension. So not only, and kind of that's what I like about it is, yes, there's mechanical, but then there's there's the visual portion of it too, where you're going to see the difference.
Well, that's what you say, and I'm thinking about the aesthetics of it, like how the car looks, but I didn't even think about the fact that everything underneath that hood and quarter panel and bumper, it all got smashed. And
Trust me, we've sent a couple cars of ours to Josh. And there's a lot that goes into it.
Some of the Daigle vehicles, I bet.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah, and cars have changed so much over the years. That is, you got to be on your game and know how to fix these cars to make them right, because me being a parent, too, you want to fix a car, and I try to relay this to my students. You want to fix a car like your kids or you're driving in it, and
Make
fix it
safe
correctly.
again.
That it reacts the same way that it was intended to from the factory,
from the manufacturer.
from the manufacturing. So anyway, going back to the program, is that we start slow, body mechanical, electrical, refinishing, and you have to do it like a math to start out with, and then it's a progression. So we go into refinishing 2, then you're doing welding, then you're doing non-structural repair, then you're getting to structural repair, then towards the 3rd and 4th semester, you're doing everything kind of from start to finish. So at the last semester, we run a full collision shop. So we're fixing student, faculty, and alumni vehicles. So, and it's collision work, but it's restoration, it's fabrication. It's kind of a blend, I kind of adapt to my students of what their interests are, because that kind of how I got interested in it, because it was a little bit different. So I try to adapt as much as I can. Yes, there's a path, there's a process for everything, but if they're more interested in one thing versus another, I adapt slightly to spend more time on that aspect for them. So so at the end of it, you get a degree, an ALS degree, so you can go to work immediately out there in the field, and my students are sought after. They usually have a good job before they leave. On top of that, they get an ICAR credit, an ICAR certificate as well, going through the program. So we're able to give ICAR classes. It's kind of an industry thing, like your mechanical side, it's an ASE certificate. In the body field side, it's ICAR. So it's a third party kind of training that they do out there in the auto body field. So we're able to give students certificates while they're going to school, and they have that to kind of take off and use in the resume to for employment. So
it's fantastic. What's the cost of the education, start to finish?
So start to finish, it changes a little bit, but I think it's right around $12,000 for 2 years. There's some cost in tools.
Sure.
While you're there, but there's tons of aids that you can get while you're going to school, scholarships. There's grants. There's tons of stuff. You put a little work into it, and you're guaranteed to help either with tools or your tuition.
Well, $12,000 for a 2-year education. How much are these guys making when they're coming out of there?
So it ranges, but you're $45,000, to start, and
so your first year in the workforce, you can.
You're in the green.
You're in the green. You're tripling or quadrupling your money.
Right, and that's I think
like
a lot of
investment.
a lot of people don't realize that investment, so it's well worth their costs.
I feel like people are starting to look more at college education recently, especially in that view, though, as far as like the investment. I mean, I think for the last 20 years, we just all went to college because that's what you did, right? But now people are like, all right, I'm going to be coming out of this school with this much student loan. Like, what's the return on all that time, money, and resources spent on getting there? So
exactly.
It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I do the same thing. My wife's a teacher. Mm-hmm. She's got a master's degree, and to get into that, how long it took to recoup that education.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
It's a lengthy time,
So there is some tools that you have to get invested in, while you're there, but while you're going to school, you get 50% off at least, a huge discount by going through the program. Yes, you need certain things, but I'm a little bit flexible. Yes, you need things, but you don't need the best of the best. Right. Even though we have relationships with the best of the best, like Snap-on, it works with our school, and they give us 50% discount to all the students. So while you're at school, so that's huge, and that's a tool that you'll use forever,
I was
for
gonna
a
say,
lifetime.
and it teaches them if you take care of the stuff, it lasts.
Yeah.
You know, rather than using somebody else's. They kind of learn that value. Taking care of your stuff.
And it's really a safety thing too. On top of it, you can get hurt as well, not using the correct tool, or what its purpose is for it. So that's another aspect of using a good tool and the right tool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what kind of I'm gonna say kids, but I don't know. I'm sure there's probably some adults too. But so what kind of people you have coming through the program do you typically see?
So usually it's a wide range. Yes, I get some retirees that are looking to restore their high school car or whatever.
That's
or
cool.
they want to learn welding or just refinishing.
Yeah.
But I get students from all over, male, female, and they're good good students. I get military. Those students are usually very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Usually because they're regimented, where they're gonna show up. They show up on time. They pay attention.
Yeah.
So we get students from all over, the Northeast really. And I got students coming from like Lake George, a fellow student, not a student, but friend of mine that I went through the program with. He came from Lake George, down to the program. I get students from
because this is a
Johnstown.
program that you see at a lot of colleges, right?
Yeah, we're kind of I feel the best program in the Northeast for the trades, and there's a lot of trades that Hudson Valley's does there.
Yeah.
So,
but trades aren't. I mean, I didn't even, until I heard about your program, I didn't realize that any of the trades were serviced at any colleges in the area or really across the country. Like, it was just not something I really thought happened. So that's why, it's not. I mean, is that common now to have trades at the college level, or is it?
Some schools. I mean, Hudson Valley's always been a trade school.
Yeah.
So that the automotive has been there for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Actually, my father went through the program. So,
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, the mechanical end of it.
Yep.
Back when, and he went to LaSalle and then went to Hudson Valley and got right into the field, and anyway, it's kind of a diamond in the rough, kind of, so to speak, where it's a great program for the cost. You get a great experience to get the college kind of life while you're going to school there, and also have low tuition and get a job right out of the program.
Super marketable degree.
Guaranteed job.
Yeah. I mean, usually Josh from Kohl's or all over dealerships, MSOs, all over saying, calling me every week and say, hey, can you have a good student? You have a good student. So it's a guaranteed job coming out if you put the effort in. Show up and with a good attitude, like anything, and you can succeed very, very well and provide for yourself as well as family down the road.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there's more and more cars on the road every single day. Like, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I feel that way.
Yeah. There's a lot out there, but I think the cars have changed in the last 10 years more so than they have in the last 40 with the technology that's in them. So at the same time, the technician has to adapt to it. So we need to, change and modernize our program. We've been modernizing things, changing with the times, where you need new equipment, you need new technology, you need a different technician. I think the biggest battle that I have, or that with, either parents or that are out there, or even students that don't know about the trades, is they think auto body, they think like they're slinging body filler all day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe it's a bad persona that they could get. But now it's, you know, it's cleaner, it's, you know, more technical, that you're replacing a lot of parts, you're dealing with computers, you're welding specialized material, like aluminum, you know, a high strength steel, you're using, you know, eventually we're going to get into carbon fiber, but aluminum has really changed the market, I think, with the F-150 and Teslas and things like that, and the EVs. Also too, we're started an EV program too. So that's another new one. That's a certificate right now, but going to be a degree in the future for EVs.
Yeah, because they're completely different than regular cars. From everything I've been told, like whether it's the glass or the body of the cars, that they have a completely different process.
Well, there's a give and take. I mean, the structure is basically is the same. They're using lighter weight material because the batteries are so heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So they're using a lot more aluminum. So there's so you have to, you know, if that gets in an accident, number one, you're, you know, working as a specialized kind of substrate, but also you're dealing with batteries that are high voltage. Mm-hmm. So there's all kinds of safety protocol that you have to go through just to, you know, work on the vehicle safely, you know. So it's not that the car is really, you know, different structurally. It's just a lighter weight material that kind of changes your repair techniques for it. You know,
gotcha.
So, but then you have the batteries and that aspect of it as well.
Yeah.
So basically, in the collision field, you're disarming the system in there, you know, removing what you need to remove. You know, there's specialized equipment where you have to jig with aluminum. And there's bonding and joining methods that are totally different now. Mm-hmm. Using a lot of glues, using self-piercing rivets that are in there, or blind rivets they call them. So the repair on those vehicles are totally changed, where you're repairing less in, you know, fixing that part. You're more so removing that part and welding or riveting or gluing or bonding a new piece on there. So in the manufacturer's specifications. Yeah. So that end of it's changing, you know, entirely. There's less repair where you're taking a hammer and beating it out and slinging mud all over it. That kind of is gone. You know, where now, you know, a modern technician is removing that part and joining it back onto there with a new quarter panel, new frame rail, you know, back to you know, factory seams, we call it. So back to where the factory put that car together, you know, and doing it the right way. So that's the big difference, I think, in how things are changing.
So like there. Do people give you cars? Like, where do the cars come from that you guys are working on? Yeah, so we've had donated cars. We work on student, faculty, alumni, so students kind of give us a lot of a market there too. Oh yeah, yeah. For some free repairs.
Well, they have to pay for anything that comes in the shop. They have to pay for their materials, but it's a great deal. So being a student, you know, so students alone keep us busy.
Plenty of opportunity
there.
Funny.
And then alumni comes back, and they always, you know, I want to restore my car. Can you paint my car or truck or, you know, whatever it is. My motorcycle. We do a lot of motorcycles and things like that. So we're busy. But we have you know, a lot of vehicles that either a school has bought or dealerships have donated or alumni have donated that we've gotten wreck cars donated by insurance companies. So I'll take that in and we'll go through the repair of making it right. Yes, it's not going to, you know, it's going to stay in-house, but I'm teaching them to do it the right way.
Yeah.
So we would buy the part and buy the parts that it needs and weld them on right and fix that car, paint it, see that process all the way through.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of it, is seeing that car, change from a wrecked vehicle that can't be driven on the road to a road-worthy vehicle, back on the road. So
So we got a couple of classic motorcycles. If I bring those over, you guys will.
Are you alumni?
I'm not.
You could be.
Sure.
I know, right?
Right.
Do I have to complete the program, or
There you go.
Take a couple classes.
Take a couple classes.
So the alumni base too, and I kind of want to back up a little bit because you talked about how Josh went to school, you went to school there, and I'm sure a lot of graduates you guys keep in touch with and whatnot. But have you had many of the graduates go on, work for a company, and then eventually go off and start their own?
I've had students do that. I've had students, go work for a company and yes, leave, do their own thing, or travel across and relocate, to another state or whatever. So there's a lot of opportunity that's there. Or they are, they work for a good employer that treats them well, and they can make a career out of it.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of opportunity there for sure.
Yeah, that was part of the reason when we were first talking and came up with the idea. It was gaining interest in the trades, but once you learn that trade, then what you can go and do with it. There's a lot of options, and it sounds like with the school, not only just an auto body, but construction management. I know is big in the Hudson Valley program. What are some of the others that you guys currently have?
So there's HVAC, there's EC&M, there's automotive. So there is welding. So there is manufacturing. So there's a ton of trades that are there, and we all kind of fall under the umbrella of applied technologies and part of STEM. So so there's so many programs there. I think people don't dig in or realize how many opportunities that there are there. Then in manufacturing, the Arsenal, they have programs that they would pay for employees, or students go there and then get a job at the Arsenal. So GE, there's that the trades are the Hudson Valley in general is a huge trade school, for sure. So
that if with you guys, obviously your students are basically placed or have a job when they walk out the door. Is that pretty consistent?
Yeah,
all the programs.
I would say so. Yeah. I would say that it's pretty consistent across the board. I think in general, the trades are our students are sought after, because there's a lot of students that come through Hudson Valley and they either go to start their own business and now they go back looking at Hudson Valley for employees. So it's a full circle there.
It makes sense if you do a good job, and clearly you guys are one of the best, and they come out, they're successful. Of course they're going to look back and say,
right.
Hey, how did I get here?
Right. Right.
So
Exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Cool.
Just got a little hard work and go through it, and who knows what could happen. I going back to kind of the beginning too, is the avenues that you can take in this. That you might not like every single class, but even with one class you could have a job or have a career. Like I talked about refinishing, where you could paint, for a career. You can weld for a career. You can do non-structural. You can do structural. You can do frame repair. You can do estimating and get into management. Estimating is part as a class, part of my program as well. Estimating. So, you have to, I think you have to see the process from start to finish in order to be a good estimator. So you have to know what is entailed in the job to write it correctly, for that as well. So we go through the what is repair, replace, that type of thing, and how are you getting paid for this job? So you can also work for an insurance company, or I also get into paintless dent repair. I don't know if anybody's ever paintless dent repair, out there, but that's a really good. You can travel a lot with that. You kind of travel. You can travel, or I've had students travel around the U.S. They follow Hailstorms and push dents and make really, really good money.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So there's a lot. There's a lot there.
Supply and demand.
Yeah, right.
That was Josh's story.
Yeah. They were kind of struggling when they first opened, and then there was like this hailstorm from God that made them so busy.
I think I was working there.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That's when things started really picking up.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
We were doing a ton of roofs, and at that time I actually going through the STEP program. At the time we didn't do anything paintless dent repair at Hudson Valley, so I went to that BMW school, and that's where my instructor, he actually learned over in Germany. He studied it for a year straight, just pushing dents, and he brought it to the STEP program where I learned it from him. And we made our own tools. We went through the whole thing. So I kind of, again, saw that and I was like, wow, that's amazing. It's like magic almost, but there's a lot to it. But anyway, I kind of brought it to Hudson Valley and work it into there and do it part of non-structural repair. But it's another avenue that students can go in. But yeah, I was so, to talk about when I was working at Kohl's is I would, I would fix a lot of that stuff that you could maybe, or, I had that option to pushing something out, and then, so it made me a faster repair, a faster technician.
Yeah.
So a lot of technicians out there are flat rate. It's a huge portion of the collision repair field, where you get paid per job instead of per hour. So a little bit different there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think Josh talked about that too, not to keep going back to Josh's podcast, but I thought that was an interesting, not spin, but just an interesting alternative way, because then guys can kind of be like, well, if I, do more jobs, I can make more money, and so you're not really capped by working 45 hours a week or whatever, or 40 hours a week. And
Right, so there's a lot of flexibility there. There's, if you're a hard worker, you want to work, 9-10 hours a day, or come in early or whatever, you hustle through the day, and you're producing more hours.
You start on running a business inside of a business almost.
Almost, yeah. So you work 40 hours, but you get paid for 60, let's say. So that's huge in the flat rate world. To get to that point. I don't suggest anybody jumping into the flat rate world, if they don't have a background in it or haven't been doing it, because you can fall flat pretty quickly. But I
imagine you need to be fast, efficient, but also very good at what you're doing.
Right.
Make that work.
Right. Making all that work come together, or
not learning lessons as you go.
Right. Exactly.
Having to do something 3 times, like, all right, I just paid $4 an hour.
Exactly. That could go the opposite way pretty quickly as well.
Yeah.
When you first start out, so start out hourly and work your way into flat rate. But
I'm curious too, when you're talking about most of the people coming out of your programs are getting jobs pretty much right away. Who's not getting jobs right away?
Oh, good question. Who's not getting jobs? I would say usually somebody that's unreliable. I think would be the first thing that come to mind, or attitude is got a lot to do with it. But relying on an employee, I think, is huge. They show up on time, they show up with a good attitude. If they have a poor attitude or don't work well with others, with other, you could see it as a student and then see it as an employee. They don't work well and part of a team, then they're not going to work out well, or they're not going to get that job. And I'm not going to, promote them and say, it's just, I get calls, or a student would, that hasn't either realized that or whatnot, whatever the case may be, and went out there and filled out an application and maybe put me on their, on their application as a reference. They know they're going to call me and I'm going to tell the truth. All right. Does that student, show up on time? There's everything. There's things that happen, but does that student show up on time? Is reliable, has a good work ethic and a good attitude. And if you have those few things, and you're willing to learn and not blocked off from learning new ways and new things, then you're going to be successful for sure.
It's funny how it sounds like pretty simple stuff, right?
It kind of.
I mean, think about the people that you see come in from a hiring standpoint, or the people that don't make it in your environment. Like, I don't care what industry you're in, it all comes down to the same things. Like, work hard, show up on time, have a good attitude. Like, after that, I tell our team here, if you do those things, I'll bend over backwards for you. I'm never going to fire you because you showed up on time and had a great attitude and worked hard. If you don't know how to do something, then we'll figure out, get you training or help you learn how to do it, or we'll put you in a different seat on the bus or whatever it is. But,
Right.
They're putting the effort in. Showing the care.
Yeah.
And when you have that, you're going to make mistakes, and as a business owner or entrepreneur, you can accept those mistakes as long as that person cares and they show that they're trying.
Absolutely. I think the instructors, all the instructors that I work with at school, they want to see the students succeed. Absolutely. And and yes, they make mistakes, but if they won't own up to that mistake and learn from it, I say you're gonna make mistakes. I tell the story all the time. First fender I painted it 6 times before I got it right. You learn from your mistakes and then progress. And that's what it's all about. Just trying again and trying to make that the light bulb goes off, or make that connection with a student and to see them succeed, and that's what it's all about, really. So
that's great.
Is there any specific criteria, and talk about the application process a little bit? Student wants to enroll. What does that process look like, and how does the acceptance work?
So you can fill out applications online. You can go visit a counselor at school. There's and they'll walk you right through the process. There's some pre-testing that is done there, but it's nothing crazy at all. So you go there, they'll walk you through the process, get your application in. There's open enrollment, that is there. And we give a packet out, what you need. But I would say the best thing is to talk to your instructor, have an open communication with your instructor. All right, what do I need for this class? All the instructors that are there are willing to work with you, even if, hey, I don't have the money for this tool right yet. All right, you don't need that for the first few weeks, right? All right, you need X, Y, and Z. Show up with a pen and paper and a pencil and a notebook. Show up with what you need, and then we'll work on that. We'll work on the rest. It's online, Hudson Valley.
Okay.
HudsonValley.edu. to fill out the application and enroll, and from there just reach out to your advisor and they'll walk you through the process of getting enrolled. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward and simple.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. You just got to put the effort into it and have some ambition into wanting to succeed, I guess, or just liking something, finding a niche, really, and enjoying what you do, every day. Enjoying that aspect, or have an interest in it even, and that interest might blossom into really liking some other portion of it.
What if someone doesn't know? What if someone hadn't really had a lot of contact with automotive industry, let's say? How would they know if this might be a good career path for them?
I would say, again, we do open houses. The pandemic has changed that a little bit where, but we're getting back into it where we do open houses, we do like job fairs. So talk to students, come in, and I'm more than welcome. I know other instructors are, to come in while a class is running. They see what it's all about. Schedule a tour, while we're there. See what's actually going on, and then talk to students that are in the program. I think it's almost sometimes not a waste of time, but better to talk to a student going through the program than it is to me.
Sure.
Get their take on what they feel about the program and what they like and dislike about it, and I take good and bad feedback and try to make it better, all the time. So,
do you guys have any open houses or?
We don't have anything scheduled right now because it's in the summer, but usually we have open houses in the spring. But there are people giving tours all summer. So I think if you just reach out to a counselor, they would schedule a tour, or even reach out to me. I've met students. They email me and say, "Hey, I want to do a tour. I'm interested in this. Can you give me a tour?" I'm around. I'll give you a tour and show you the facility and give you the ins and outs of anything that you want to need to do or know about the program. So email me at m.perry@hvcc.edu.
Awesome.
So.
And what about social media? You guys probably all over everything, right?
Yeah. So there's Hudson Valley has their own Facebook page. So you can go through that link, or Automotive has their own Facebook page as well.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
So any Instagram or anything like that, or just Facebook?
I think there's some instructors have some Instagram stuff, but mostly Facebook that are out there.
Oh.
So
okay.
Yeah. Just trying to think, what else? Open houses. Oh, we have an ATEC club too as well. So it's kind of an after hours group that you have to do your regular classes through the day through the program, and then we have an ATEC club that does they have a project, or we've been working on a Camaro that we've fixed after hours in the collision repair aspect of it, in the refinishing aspect of it. Then the mechanical end took it, rebuilt the motor. This is all after hours, and they go out there and look for sponsors and donations from the industry to donate parts and
who ends up with the Camaro?
So we use it to promote the program.
Oh, gotcha.
So eventually we're going to bring it to car shows and Lebanon Valley racetracks and things, and
cool.
kind of promote it's green. We painted some custom flames on there, so it's lettered up and sponsors all over it. So it's kind of just an eye grabber, and it sounds really good too.
I bet it does. I bet it does.
So we're looking to take it down the racetrack.
Well, I'm just going to lobby one more time. I have a nice 1966 Honda Dream. It's in rough shape. It can really use some repair and beautification. Just saying.
Let's talk.
If you ever need a project for a
Absolutely.
non-alumni.
That's the thing. You'll never run out of work. You become good at something like this.
Yeah.
Everybody has a project that they want to work on.
Yeah.
You know, which is good. You know, keeps you busy and keeps you, you see different things.
Yeah.
So keeps you motivated.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I think that's. Any other questions for me, Derek? Or
Not right now. Anything else, Matt, that you want to add? Again, why don't you give all listeners your how they can reach out to you again? And
Yeah. So contact me at m.perry, Perry, at hvcc.edu. Email me. Go to our Hudson Valley Facebook page, or Hudson Valley webpage in general, and you will find a link or a pathway to reach out to instructor or program, that we have at Hudson Valley.
So awesome. Yeah. Thanks again for coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
all right.